Should I include when we thought we saw aliens? The weird squeaking noise, that's the fridge. It be like that, ignore it. Welcome to spooky season and welcome back to my channel. It's October 1st. It's definitely not going to be October 1st when I post this, but that's besides the point. We have started spooky season. Yes. So basically I've decided I'm going to do like a series because for some reason my whole life ghosts just love me. I can't say I am not intrigued by them, but I'm basically just gonna be talking about like the scariest things that have happened in my life, and that takes multiple videos because it's a lot. Also, ignore this smoker's voice. I'm sick. Hopefully it's gone soon. If not, even spookier. All right, so I would say my first spooky ghosty memory is I am from California. I was living in California, so my whole family would like fall asleep having like movie watching marathons on the couch, and there on numerous occasions we would wake up to, we had this like little monster truck. It was like an electronic monster truck you would have batteries in, and basically how it worked is you would pull it back and let it go, and it was like it would shoot up flames like vroom, vroom, and it would like go and it would beep, and we would wake up to it like going off in the middle of the night all by itself. And like I would look around, no one's awake, no one's moved, like nothing, and it just didn't make sense. And eventually like it was happening so often that my mom was like, okay, maybe it's one of the cats, even though like the cats would all be asleep next to us, whatever. Maybe it's one of the cats, maybe it's broken, I don't know. So she took the batteries out of it and just told my brother, like, you can play with it without the batteries, it just won't be as cool. And I kid you not, we woke up again to it doing the same thing and going off and shooting the lights and the flames and all of that without the batteries. And we got rid of it after that. But that's probably the first thing where I was like, okay, yeah, this is like what we see in the shows. This is probably a ghost. And in that same apartment, my mom swears that my little sister, who I'm definitely gonna make a video with because she's like even like spookier than me. My mom swears that she would find her just like in the bathroom at that house, just like talking kind of to herself, but like it was like she was talking to someone else, but no, obviously no one's there. And she was like, I don't know, probably like, she was like a toddler, like barely talking. So that was like my first childhood home growing up, like scary stuff. So then we moved to Colorado. I was in like 6th grade, I want to say. So when we moved to Colorado, we got this one house, and right off the bat, I knew that this was probably going to be another like scary situation because the way we bought the house, so we were like really broke, which is part of why we moved here. And we got this house that was like, they were desperately trying to sell it. We're kind of shady, wouldn't tell us too much about it. All we knew is the guy who sold it told us that his mother had died in the house. And my mom was like, yeah, okay, cool, we're not scared of ghosts.
We ain't scared of no ghosts here, it's okay.
It's cheap, we'll buy it. So right off the bat, she bought the house, ghosts included. It's a really old house. I know it's 1900s for sure. I want to say it's in mid 1900s. Like it's an old ass house. And it doesn't even have a basement. It has like a crawl space underneath that like literally looks where like demons would live. And you know, what in a house that has ghosts, it's kind of known in like ghost communities that ghosts don't generally like you messing with the house. And my mom said, you know what? No. So she built a wall, made it a whole different room, redid the bathroom, like changed a whole bunch of stuff immediately. And this house was so creepy. Literally the night we bought it, my mom was like, yeah, let's not walk around this house alone because I'm kind of creeped out by it. My mom's kind of crazy, so she would literally say stuff like that to us. Usually you wouldn't want to scare kids, but she just didn't care. So we're all scared of this house right off the bat. But I just remember I was so creeped out because there's this long hallway, and like it's literally like something straight out of a movie. If I find a picture of it, I'll put it in. And it's just this long ass hallway that I was always so scared to walk down. And on this hallway, we have my room, my brother's room at the end, and on the other side at the end is my mother's room. And halfway down this hallway, just randomly, is the bathroom. And you have to walk past the bathroom in the middle of the pitch black, dark, long ass hallway. And it was already so creepy. But then I was walking down one night. I think I like heard something. I don't remember why I left my room, but I was walking down and the lights were all off. And I swear to God, as I'm passing this bathroom, I see this little boy, probably like 6 years old or something, just standing in the bathroom in the middle of it, just like staring out. And I like walked past and I was like, should I like check that out? And I was like, no, let me just see if I have a little brother. So I was like, let me just see if my little brother's in his room. Maybe he's just like being weird. So I walked down because, you know, his room's at the end of the hallway anyways. I walked down. He's asleep. My older brother's asleep. My mom's in her room. My stepdad's in the room. Carrie, my sister, is in her bedroom. So no idea who's in the bathroom. So I finally muster up the courage and I check. No one's in the bathroom. No one's walking around. Everyone's asleep. But I just saw this little ass boy staring at me in the bathroom in this pitch black hallway. I swear to God, I felt like I was in Insidious right there. It was so scary. Nope. That's all I like really remember about that house. I mean, it was creepy. What is wrong with you? So the next year, I'm at my friend's house. Well, I'm at her apartment. She like had a single mom and it was just her and then her little brother. Her little brother was at a sleepover and her mom was on a date. So her mom had left to Denver. So she just left me and my friend alone at their house. Wasn't a big deal. We were just like watching movies, hanging out, no biggie. And then we went into her room. We were like deciding if we wanted to go to like kids night out and like what, just deciding if we wanted to go out that night. I'm like probably 12, 13. And while we're deciding this, we hear the door open, the front door. It was a second floor apartment. It had the stairs inside the house. So you open the door and then you have to walk up the stairs to get in. So we heard the door open and slam shut, like if you just let it go. And then we heard boom, boom, boom. And we thought like maybe her mom was home, which didn't make sense because her mom had left for her date like not even an hour ago. So she was probably just getting to Denver. And so we were like, hello? Like she's calling for her mom and no one's answering. And at that point we both just got like a really, really bad feeling in our stomach. We're like, okay, someone just broke in, we gotta go. So we closed the door, locked it. We heard someone, like we finally heard the footsteps up the stairs stop. And we were like, okay, so they're upstairs. They heard us calling for her mom. Like they know we're here. So then we go into the bathroom inside of the room and lock that door too. Really bad idea. We've just trapped ourselves. But we have like scissors from her makeup kit and like, I think tweezers. Like that's the only weapons we have. And we're like, we're like so dramatic. We hear noises. Like we heard like movement in the kitchen. Right on the other side of the bathroom is the laundry room and the kitchen, and we're hearing noises in the laundry room. We're hearing cupboards slam. Like I've never been more sure in my life that someone was in that house. And so we're like making videos, like saying bye to our families, like we're about to die, like debating if we call 911, like all this stuff. And we didn't know what to do. And so we called her uncle who lived down the street because we were like, he's gonna get here faster than the police can. So we called our uncle. He has a key to the house, I think, something like that. And so she tells her like, I know for a fact there is someone in this house. Like I need you to come in and like get us out of here. And we're still hearing noises the whole time. He can hear the noises, by the way. Like we have it on speaker. Like it was so loud that he even heard like the cupboards and stuff. And he thought we were like playing a prank. We were like, no, like get your ass over here, please. But yeah, he came in and the door was locked. He looks around and like it looks like stuff has been moved when we come out, but no one's there. Like no one's in the house. He checks the whole house and no one is there. So I don't know what that was, but like we just left for the night, had to call the mom back early from the date, like everything. It was really scary. But basically there was like no way that it was a person because the door was locked and no one had a key that wasn't there. I mean, the little brother, but he was at a sleepover, so. And what's weird about that story is that something very, very similar happened again in my life, which we'll get to. So this one's just really small, but like I went and visited my grandpa once, and he lives in like the mountains up in like Vale. This was like his brand new house, and it was like kind of weird and like off-putting, but like nothing too major. And I was upstairs alone sleeping, and I woke up to what felt like someone grabbing my ankle, like straight out of like Paranormal Activity. Like I swear to God, I felt every finger wrap around. It was so slow, it went like this, like the thumb, and then I felt every single finger wrap. Like I could feel the pressure from like the knuckles, like, and it like grabbed me like this just a little bit. Like it didn't yank me, but it went like that a little bit. And I freaked out, didn't sleep the rest of the night. My brother or sister, one of them had like a similar thing like downstairs. But yeah, I just like woke up being grabbed. That was also very, very scary. Oh, so my dad lived in these apartments. These apartments, straight off the bat, another thing where you just like knew it was gonna be haunted. Right across the street was the cemetery. So like literally you go out onto the balcony and you see the cemetery. And I was like, okay, that's kind of creepy, like probably gonna be haunted, but no biggie. The worst part about this apartment, like when any of me or my siblings were home alone, we would hear other family members' voices. Like once I was taking a bath. I was home alone, like completely alone. Everyone was gone. Everyone was supposed to be gone for the night too. And I was in the bath and I had my head covered to like right here with water. So like my ears were covered and everything. And I heard my dad's voice so loudly that I heard it under the water. And I heard it go, "Haley." And I jumped out and I was like, what the heck? Because he wasn't supposed to be home. So I jumped out and then I heard "Haley" from the kitchen area. And so I was like, why is he home? Like, why is he yelling at me? I like gotten like a towel, like whatever. I left the bath. I looked around the apartment. No one was home, but I heard my dad's voice specifically, like not a man's voice, like my dad's voice yell my name as if I was in trouble. It was so scary. Yeah, so that was weird. I heard my sister's voice once calling me from her room, and she was supposed to be at a sleepover. Again, I was home alone. I like went over to her room and she obviously wasn't there. So, but it was weird. It was her voice coming from her room, like calling me. I don't even think she was saying my name. She was just like saying something, like calling me over. And Carrie, my sister, had the same experience. My dad, he doesn't really believe in this kind of stuff, but like he even said the same thing. Like he thought he heard me once, but he was like, no biggie, like I was just imagining it. I was like, okay, are we all imagining the same thing or what? In that same apartment, me and Carrie ended up like, we were sharing a room at one point, and we had a TV and it had like a VCR, and we would watch Cinderella all the time. And there was a few times where for some reason it would like turn on in the middle of the night, just full volume. We never had it at full volume. It would be at full volume blasting in like the middle of the movie for no reason, just like wake us up. And obviously it would scare the shit out of us, and we were like, what the hell? And I don't think it was just the TV, because like we would have other movies in it and it wouldn't happen. It would only happen with Cinderella, which is like a really odd movie for it to just like happen with. So I moved to another house when my parents got together for a little bit, but then we moved back to those same apartments. Obviously it was like a different apartment, but the same complex right across from the cemetery. In fact, we were actually closer to the cemetery. Like it was literally, our fence was like touching the cemetery. And I just remember it was like really, really scary there because I wasn't hearing the voices anymore. I remember I was there home alone again with my boyfriend, and we were like watching a movie or something, and I fell asleep. And he said I woke up out of my sleep, pointed to a corner of like the room, and I was like, who is she? I guess I was like half asleep. I don't remember this at all whatsoever. But he said it looked like I like half woke up, and I was like talking to him, and I was like, who is she? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm just pointing to this dark corner across the room. I'm like, who is she? He's like, Haley, no one's there. And then I just went back to sleep. So that was pretty freaky, especially since I was home alone a lot at that house. So it was kind of scary. I mean, there would just be little things all the time where like the trash bag would be moved, or once I felt like my bed was being shaken and it like woke me up because it felt like my bed was dead ass shaking. And then we moved into debatably one of the scariest houses I've ever lived in. This house my grandpa used to live in, and we bought it from him. So that was interesting. Yeah, we bought this house from him. This one I know for a fact was built, I think, in the 1970s. It was like 1972 or something. And I know that because we did such extensive research about this house because of how scary it was. So this house, like right off the bat, even when my grandpa owned the house, I was scared of it. I remember I came home from school one day and I was like eating a snack, hanging out with my grandpa, and I went downstairs and I like walked down the stairs, and as I entered the like downstairs living room, there was like this corner with like a door half open, and it sounded like when I turned it sounded like someone like came right here and whispered in my ear, and I was like, what are you doing? Like right in my ear. And I was so scared. I had like milk and cookies. I like dropped them and ran up the stairs, and I like got in trouble for making a huge mess, but I was so scared. I was like crying, and that was like the first experience I had in that house. And then we moved there, so just imagine that. This was probably one of like the most insane stories I ever had. So when we have like mandatory like state testing, you have like half days. So you don't have to go in for the full day. Some schools have you go in for the first half of the day. My school at that time had me go in for the second half of the day. So we would go in at like noon. So I was there alone. My brother was a little hooligan, so he was off running around with his friends. My little sister and little brother were at school because they're in elementary school, and then my parents were both at work. So I was just home alone listening to my G-Eazy, jamming, being a little 14-year-old, and I had my music on full blast, and I heard something downstairs. So I paused my music because I was like, that's weird, no one's home. So I heard something from the downstairs living room. I feel like it's important to mention the layout of this house. So there was 3 floors and a basement. The top floor was where my room was. The main floor was where the living room and the kitchen was. The second floor is where that second living room I was talking about was, and another bedroom. And then the basement was, the basement. I was upstairs, and my room specifically at this time was like the big wall connected to the living room. And on the living room area side, I heard like noise. So that's why I paused my music. And I'm like listening for a minute, and I heard a very, very deep voice. They said an extremely audible like sentence, like a full-blown sentence that like for years I was able to like say the sentence because I heard every single word so loud and so clearly. But unfortunately, memory's trash, so I can't remember it anymore. But they said a full-blown sentence. And it sounded, if you've ever played Call of Duty, it sounded like the Call of Duty Black Ops voice, like the main character's voice. So I thought it was the video game, but the weird thing is I played that game a lot at this time in my life, and I had never ever heard this sentence. God, I wish I could remember what the sentence was. It was just something that I knew for a fact this character did not say in any setting, in any map ever. It was like not even something related to like Call of Duty or war or anything. So I was like, I'm gonna text my mom. And my mom was very diligent of like turning off TVs, turning off electronics, turning off lights, locking doors, just doing the whole shebang before she went to work. Like she did it religiously every single day before she went to work. So I texted her and I was like, hey, did you like leave the TV on today? Because I think I just heard like a video game. She was like, no, I turned everything off. You know I turned everything off. I was like, okay, like, are you sure like Tyler didn't leave after you and he like left it on? She's like, no, like he left before me. So I was like, okay, well, I just heard a man's voice very clearly. This is what he said. What do I do? And at this point, while I'm texting her, I'm hearing walking. And I've kind of decided, okay, I don't think this is a video game anymore. She said she turned everything off. Someone is very likely in the house. It wasn't my dad's voice. It wasn't my brother's voice. and I was pretty freaked out. So I'm texting her, I'm like, what do I do? Do I sneak out? Like, do I jump out the window? I'm like 3 stories up, so I can't jump out the window. That was like a really bad idea. I'm like, what the hell do you want me to do? Should I try to sneak out the living room? I mean, I think they're in the living room. And I'm hearing them walk around on the main level. And it was like such an old house. The walls were so thin. I could hear where they were so distinctly. I heard them go into the kitchen. I heard them go downstairs. And my mom is so convinced by like how detailed I'm telling her this, that she thinks someone broke in, and she calls the police. She tells them like, basically, I'm texting my daughter right now, someone broke into our house, this is our address, please get there as soon as possible. And I'm not on the phone with them because I told her like, I can't call the police, like they're gonna hear me. The walls are so thin, they will hear me even whispering. So I lock my door as quietly as I can, and I hid in my closet, I think, with some scissors, as if that's gonna do anything for me. And I'm just hearing this person walk up the stairs, down the stairs, across the living room. Again, I can hear them so clearly. And at this point, I'm kind of scared that they heard me with my music. Like, I was playing my rap really loud. And so basically the cops show up. I'm hearing them the whole time until the second the cops open the door. So as like right before the cops open the door, I hear them walking up the stairs right next to my room. The stairs practically led to my room. I swear to God, they're right next to my door at this point. And I kind of heard them talking as well. I thought maybe it was multiple people because it sounded like they were talking to each other. And like right as they go up the stairs, I hear the cops bust open the door like, police, like if anyone's here, come up. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're right there. They know which room I'm in, so they come into my room. Like, they're like, it's the police, like let me in. So I let them in, and I'm like, do you have them? They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, they were right there on the stairs when you guys came in. They're like, no one's here. So I'm like, they must be upstairs then. They must have ran into my parents' room or something. I tell you, they scanned this whole house for at least an hour. No one was hidden in any closets, under the bed, nothing. Then they pulled up 3 cop cars, at least 6 officers, all with big heavy guns. Like I've never seen anything that looks more like SWAT or something, like some TV show. And they didn't find anyone. And what's funny is they told me that all the TVs and everything were off, just like my mom said, but that the front door was unlocked, that my garage door was partially opened. So it was just like sitting, like it had obviously been opened and it was unlocked. And then the back sliding door on like the second living room level was half open. So they were like, someone was very clearly like in the house because the doors were all open. But here's the kicker. It had snowed that morning. So there was snow all around my house and there was no footprints going in and out. So there was no footprints in the backyard, which is where they would have had to escape if like when the people busted in. There was no footprints in the backyard, none around my house, like nothing. There was no footprints in the snow. It was a ghost, I'm sure of it, no questions asked. We had to call the cops on a ghost. Even the police were confused. Like they're like, I don't know how this person would have gotten out. Like if you were hearing what you were hearing, like they were just as confused as me. Point blank period, it was a ghost. And there was like a few things that happened in that house with like my siblings. Like one time my brother and my 2 brothers and my sister were having a sleepover in the room right next to me. They're just like watching a movie and fell asleep all in her room. And they all woke up like screaming one night because they saw like a woman. They said an old woman standing in the room. My brother said that in that room, my sister's room, he felt his shoulder grabbed once. In the basement, my brother, he said he saw a little girl in like the basement like windowsill. So like those really deep windowsills for basements, he saw a little girl in one, like some sort of like demonic little girl, and he had like to bless his whole room with like holy water and stuff. So that house was pretty crazy. And in this house is where I was having like my first set of like really crazy dreams. I'm not gonna say I'm a psychic, but I have something weird going on with the dreams. That my sister was possessed. I caught something when I was filming a video once, like 0323, basically my description of the boat sinking.